Not because I believe I have something to say that someone else can't articulate, but because if I can speak it, then someone else can have hope in it, and then they can speak it for themselves. And that's all any of us can do. So I have to do these moments that I may get a little emotional, but it's not to waste your time. I know you've been out in this 90-degree heat and you want to get home, but I'm just going to get started, and this is the journey to the middle. My whole upbringing in Mississippi was influenced by a man named Benjamin Canada. He was the superintendent of my high school. He took me under his wing. He was an African-American man who gained the right to serve in leadership in the Jackson Public Schools because of the Freedom Riders in those Freedom Summers who went door to door sharing stories about why you have to reach into communities that struggle to understand. The sad part about this reality is Benjamin Canada is now on the board of supervisors or something in education in Texas. And I said, can I buy your plane ticket and bring you out to be here today, because I am who I am because of his influence in fighting racial oppression, to remove the rebel flag from my high school, to stand up for people who had economic injustice. And if it wasn't for him, I might not have this perspective. I may be like a lot of people who are just trying to struggle to understand, like a lot of people just right behind me in the city of Fresno. But the reality around Benjamin Canada is he lives in a world where to come and stand with me today, even without being on the stage, it would be political suicide in a community and a state that would judge him based on his connection to education, and that is completely wrong.
Bullshit.
He gave his support. He said he would love to be here, but because of what the cost it would have on his own life in reference to his own financial future, he needed to make that decision. And I respect that, because it may take him years to come to the point to say, I'm going to stand with you the way that you stood with me. But the reality is I will wait years if that's what it takes, but that's not how long I'm going to wait to organize to not wait years. So moving from Mississippi to California on November 5th, I realized that I tried to escape the place that actually landed me right in the same soil that I'd been in before. And I learned in that moment that you can't run from discrimination. It's everywhere. It's in the Inland Empire. It's in counties in Los Angeles. It's in San Francisco, whether you like it or not. It may be a gay mecca, but there's still racial oppression. There is social economic injustice. There are all kinds of platforms, including our own platforms, sometimes to quickly deny and leave out our trans community that definitely deserve a seat at the table that we're fighting to be in as well. And not until November 5th, and realizing that I had lost hope, did I regain hope and the belief that you have to have courage to produce change, when I met a man by the name of Cleve Jones. I am just a mom who really loves her kids. And I am tired having to drive all across this state to convince other people that it should be okay for me to ride my bike with my kids, to play on the park with my kids, and do everything else another parent wants to do. But instead, I have to fight to get Cleve Jones's ear to stand with me and say, please tell it to everybody that you can to meet in the middle. And in those moments when he said yes, and Robin Tyler said yes, And all the pioneers of our movement said, okay, I get it. I get why I got to come to this place like Fresno. There's a man named Rick Jacobs who also said yes. And I believe that in the moments of that Holiday Inn that's just right across this plaza, when I sat across the table and I said, look, I'm doing this event with or without you, but the reality is there's a community of people that believe in meeting in the middle. There's 70 people that have been meeting every Monday night for 3 months to bring you here. And every single one of them, yes, they deserve as much a round of applause as I have. And when I said that, Rick's response was not why, but how can I help? And I will be forever in debt to the people who came forward and did not look at it from the perspective of what could I do for them, but more what they could do for Fresno and for the people that are most important to me, and that is my wife of 11 years and my 2 children, Sebastian and Jackson, who are here today. This is Sebastian. Sebastian to see me cry, but he has to know that today is happy tears. That's what I keep on telling him. It's happy tears, it's happy tears. So in those moments of a movement, sometimes you have people who believe in the movement just because it is what it is. And that's why I want to say this. If it hadn't been for people like Molly Mcgehee and Marriage Equality USA who had been in this community doing work, as well as GSA Network, who employed me part-time and taught me those lessons. He's having a... You can stand with me all you want. You can stand. But it's by working with GSA Network and their platform of never looking at a community that's divided, but a community that is united around the youth movement, the people of color movement, the trans movement, and every other movement that unites us for equality. If you look at that banner, that's how we win in 2010. And I don't want to wait till 2012. I know there's a lot of people debating it, but I want to put that ballot bashing right back on the ballot box and say, you can check your homophobia year after year after year, and I will come right back if it means that's how I'm going to fight for my family.